Stitzel will have our children's story at this time.
Good morning. How are you today? This church would not be the same without you little kids. I'm telling you, we cherish you. A few weeks ago, I woke up really early in the morning, and I'm sitting at the table, and I always do my morning devotional. I'm working on reading my Bible through this year coming up, and so I did that, and a lot of times I'll get on my laptop and check the news, and so I did that, and it's still 4 o'clock in the morning, right? And so I thought, what can I do for the next 3 hours waiting for Vicki to get out of bed? So I decided to look online, and I found a documentary. And this documentary was on mountain men. And so I started watching that. And as I was watching that, I just caught with a glimpse of my eye something. I didn't know, it was more of a feeling than actually seeing. And so I thought, what was that? You know, my dog was laying right there. I thought, well, maybe it was her tail wagging or something, but it just kind of caught me off guard a little bit. And so I looked around, nothing was there. And so I was watching this documentary again, and all of a sudden I noticed something, and it was moving. And so I actually took a picture of it, and if they could cut the lights on that, and I want to see if you can see what I saw. You have to watch really close. This is my house, or I live in a motorhome, so this is my motorhome. Keep watching. Did you see it? Keep watching. I couldn't believe my eyes. I could not believe it. There it goes. Did you see it? So as I'm watching this thing, running back and forth freely in my motorhome, I tell you, it actually freaked me out a little bit, actually. And I knew that if Vicki was up, oh my goodness, I don't know what she would do. I turned it sideways because I wanted to give a little better, wider angle so you might be able to see it a little bit better, and there it goes. So as I'm watching this thing, first of all, you kind of get like a, ooh, there's a mouse in my house, right? And so those things are like dirty. I just like freaking out a little bit. And so I'm looking at this thing thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I've never caught a mouse before, so I didn't really even know what to do. But I was watching that documentary, right, on mountain men, and they know what they're doing on this type of stuff. And so as I was watching this thing, I thought, what can I do? First of all, you have to look like a mountain man, right? I mean, so I got myself my hat just so I could look more authentic. Fur skin hat. How do I look?
Like a cat.
Like a cat? Yeah, well, you got to blend in. You got to blend in. And so I'm thinking, okay, so on this segment, it talked about how to track them. But I thought, man, that first segment wasn't any good for me. That thing was running all over my house. I didn't need to track nothing, right? And so anyway, so I thought, well, the second segment was on hunting, and I haven't hunted for a lot of years. Ever since I started coming to church, I haven't really hunted. And besides that, you know, you can't shoot a gun in a motorhome, right? I mean, it put a hole in the floor. You know, I'm really scared of snakes, so if that would have been a snake, there would have been holes all over the floor, I can tell you that. But anyway, so I'm thinking, so what's the next best thing to do? And so I'm thinking, trapper. A trapper. Those guys know what they're doing, and they have all kinds of traps. I mean, a professional trapper, they have a trap that can catch a bear, right? But if you're going to be a trapper, you can't talk like us. I mean, you can't say a bear trap. Those guys say bar. It's a bar trap, right? So yeah, did you catch any bar today? Yeah, caught a grizz, type of thing. So I thought, well, that trap would be way too big. And so I found this trap, and on the bottom it said made in Texas. So I'm kind of thinking it might be like an armadillo trap or something. I don't know. But anyway, but they don't call them armadillos, they call them dilla. Get the dilla trap, type of thing. So, but even this is way too big, right? And so, but this here is actually a gopher or a mole trap. And it's like a little scissor thing, and you put it in the ground, I don't know. But, a trapper don't call it a gopher/mole, right? He calls it a gopher mow. But you have to hold on to the trap when you're talking about it, because if you say gopher mow to somebody, they'll think you want to go for more of something, whatever you get. So you got to make sure you're clear on what you're talking about. So I started looking a little bit more, and this, you know what this is? It is a mouse trap. Yeah, and you put the bait in there, and sometimes people use cheese, or sometimes they put peanut butter in there. These things are hard to set if you have them, because this little thing has to go in here. And so if you pull this back with all that stuff on it, and all of a sudden you have your finger in there, it can snap you, right? And so I don't want anything to do with that. And besides, I'm a Christian trapper. I don't kill things. I'm a Christian. So this is what I did. I thought about it, and it's like, what do I do? And so what I did, I looked over on the counter, and there was a jar over there, and it had 2 cookies in there I got from Christmas, right? And so I got that jar, and what I did was, let me get this here, the dog food. And so I took this dog food, and I opened up the lid of this jar, like this, and I set it on the ground. I put some dog food in it, and then I lined up 4 or 5 pieces like that, so the mouse would come and take that, right? And so I thought, well, I don't even know if that mouse will come around with me here. So I sat real still like this, and pretty soon that mouse came out and grabbed one of these and took it back underneath the couch. And so I'm thinking, wow, that thing, and pretty soon it came out and got another one. And that little mouse was getting so comfortable with me being here that one time he even ran out and climbed up on this bow and just sat there and stared at me. And I thought just for a second he was going to jump right on my face and make a nest out of my beard, right? And so anyway, and all of a sudden he jumped off and went in there and came back out and stuff like that. And so anyway, so I'm watching this thing, and about that time that he was doing all this, really getting comfortable around me, all of a sudden I felt the motorhome rock a little bit, and I go, uh-oh, Vicky's up. And if she sees this mouse, she is going to freak out, right? And so I'm thinking, I've been at this like 1 hour and 15 minutes by now, working on this mouse. And so I look back there, and here she comes, and I go like this, and she had a really weird look on her face because she came out and saw me. And later I found out that she thought I was praying over the dog food. She did, she could put that, he's out of his mind, right? He's praying over the dog food. And so anyway, but I didn't tell her what was going on. I thought she saw the mouse or whatever. And so about that time, that mouse came running out, and just as it went in the jar, I slammed the lid over. And I thought, did I even get it? Because those things are so fast. And I looked, and sure enough, that mouse was on its way back out. And I tell you, I did not hurt the mouse, but the back tail and the back 2 legs were inside the jar, and on top of it, with the body out, the lid was like this. Now, I didn't squish it, but I held it firm enough to where it could not get away, right? And so here I stand back up, and I'm like, yes, yes, I got this mouse. I couldn't believe it. That thing was a saber-tooth biting machine. I mean, it was trying to get me like crazy, right? And I'm like, oh, man. But there's one thing, being a new trapper, there's one thing I didn't come to think about. That was, how do I open the door? I got both hands holding the jar, and I can't let go because half the mouse is hanging out. And so I'm standing there, and I'm like, where's Vicky? She's probably hiding behind the bed thinking that, that mouse is going to get her. So I go, Vicky, I got it. I named this mouse Sasquatch. Vicky, I got Sasquatch. I got it. I mean, it's right here. And I said, I need somebody to open the door for me. I can't open the door. I got both hands on the jar. I can't open it with my elbow. And you know what she said to me? Just a minute, I'm in the bathroom. It's like, oh, so I sit down, I waited a few seconds, and finally she comes out, and she opened the door. I went down the stairs. I was in my stocking feet. I didn't even have shoes on. I went outside, and I let the little mouse go. And you know what it did? It took off and ran right between my legs, ran underneath the step, under the motorhome. I bet you it beat me back in the house. Yeah, true story. But the lesson that I learned from this is that Satan is a professional trapper. Satan can trap us. He knows us. He can trap us. And the bait that he uses is he just tempts us with all the little things that we might want. Like maybe we want the toy from our little brother and sister and we take it. Or maybe maybe we lie to our parents or something. So he's tempting us with those things. And if you run out and grab it, sometimes you think you got away with it, but you really didn't. But what he's doing is letting you get really comfortable around him. And so that way, eventually you're kind of caught off guard and he'll slam this down on you and trap you. But I'm telling you that Jesus is there for us. Jesus died on the cross so that we can be free from Satan's trap. All we have to do is pray and say, Jesus, forgive me of my sins. Please help me. And Jesus is there for you. So if you get free, don't be like the mouse and run back under and get back into danger. Look at Jesus and hang on to Jesus because he loves you and he died for you. Thank you, boys and girls. You can go back to your chair.